Greetings. R. Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 247, and this is Tuesday. Well, I have been scouring the internet and I came up with an article. Actually, it's a very long article. I'm only taking a small part of it, focusing my attention on this, and that's the peace deal takes shape under Trump. And this is something that has been in the news lately. And so most of us are aware that something is going on. So let's take a look at it. Since returning to office in January, Trump has twinned his push for a peace deal with apocalyptic threats against Hamas. The president has framed a possible ceasefire agreement as one part of a wider Middle East accord and something special for the whole region. The president has secured buy-in from key Arab and Muslim states, his efforts energized by his criticism of Israel's audacious and unsuccessful effort to assassinate top Hamas official Khalil al-Ahla in an airstrike in the Qatari capital of Doha. The 20-point peace plan presented by Trump and Netanyahu at the White House on September 29th appears a far cry from his February Gaza Riviera redevelopment scheme, which he said would see the U.S. take over and own the Gaza Strip, overseeing its reconstruction with Palestinians relocated outside of the Strip. The new proposal foresees a transfer of power to a technocratic Palestinian government backed by a temporary international stabilization force manned by Arab and other international partners to oversee the security of Gaza. The new government would also be overseen by the Board of Peace transitional body chaired by Trump, with other members including former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. The IDF, though, would remain along the Gaza perimeter and in the southern Philadelphia frontier crossing while retaining freedom of military actions throughout the Strip. Hamas leaders would be allowed to leave the Strip, but their organization would have to fully disarm. Hamas on Friday gave a positive initial response, signifying its readiness to free all hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners if the field conditions for the exchange are met. But the group said more negotiations will be needed before it can agree to a full peace deal. This week, Hamas, Israeli, and U.S. representatives will gather in Egypt's Red Sea city of Sharm el-Sheikh for further ceasefire talks. Now, that's all that I took out of this whole article. There's a whole lot more. And here's my opinion. It does appear that President Trump is orchestrating a peace deal that will bring the current war between Hamas and Israel to a close. Now, however, while they may eventually agree on a peace settlement, especially between Hamas and Israel, and it may last for a time, it will not be a lasting peace. Hamas might disappear. I'm not saying that it won't disappear. It may very well disappear, but I think it will come back in a different form. Why? Because the real strife is not between Hamas and Israel. There are two entities involved in it. But the real strife is between two different peoples claiming rights to the same land. The only way, I don't know if we have anything here in the United States that really compares to this. Closest I can come to thinking about is a piece of property, and two people claim that they both bought it. And so they have to go to courts and produce and prove it all, and who has the right claim. Well, God's already answered that actually in the Bible. So we don't have to go to a secular court. We just go to the court, the heavenly court. And we know how that's going to come out. And the land belongs to Israel, to the Jewish people. But both claim that God has given it to them. The Arabs go further and state that they want to push the Jews into the Mediterranean Sea. And I don't really think they're going to take that out of their documents. And even if they did, it's still going to be in their hearts. That's their attitude. When Christ returns, he will settle the issue once and for all. So the best that that's you and me, the best that we can hope for right now is a relative peace. And that would be something of a miracle in its own right. And that's something to pray about, um, something that we can look forward to. Uh, that is something worth uh, actually anticipating, a relative peace. We'll leave it up to God how the eventual thing. He's actually, you want to know how it turns out, you have to read the book of Revelation. And there's a few other books of the Bible that touch on the subject as well. But the thing is this, uh, for us living in this world today, we can hope for and we can pray for a relative peace where they lay down their arms. And I believe that's going to happen, actually. Why do I believe that? Because that same book of Revelation talks about when they are invaded, Israel is invaded, the Bible calls it that Russia will come down against an on-walled city. It's on the wall, cities will be on-walled. That's a military term in the Bible, and they had walls to protect them from enemies. So I interpret that, and I'm not alone in this, that means that they're going to be at peace. In fact, the Bible actually talks about a peace that the Antichrist is going to have. He's going to sign a contract with Israel, and it's to last for at least 7 years. It won't, but that's the goal. And that paves the way for the peace. The Iron Dome will come down. Troops may very well be not disarmed and disbanded. I don't know how far that's going to go, but they're going to be just like there's going to be a relative peace. There's going to be a relative disarmament and all that. Israel's going to be vulnerable, and when that happens, then the enemy strikes. And so, but in the meantime, we can hope for some kind of peace. Well, I hope that's shed some light on this whole subject, and maybe it's given you something to chew about, think about, look it up in the Bible, study it out, and comment on it. I do provide you the opportunity to comment. Please do. I look forward to seeing pro or con. As long as you keep it decent, that's fine. And you might end up, what you have to say might end up showing up in one of my podcasts. Well, that's it for today. I hope you had a great day and you have a great week. Look forward to seeing you in the next video, the next episode.